We have a real treat for you now. Our keynote speaker is His Excellency, Mr. Badr Mohammad Alawadi. And it's with great pleasure that I ask him to talk to you in the keynote for the whole meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be in front of you today to speak on the Sustainable Development Goals. I would like to thank both of the World Association for Sustainable Development and Queen Mary University for inviting me to speak here today on this important subject. After long hours in the conference room of the United Nations of the General Assembly adopted the 17 Sustainable Development Goals on the 25th of September 2015. These goals set the groundwork for the development efforts of the international community. This was a major step taken by member states of the United Nations as it set the targets for the global effort for all countries over the following 15 years. And as in Kuwait, fully aligned both our national development plans and our foreign development efforts with these standards. In my speech, I'm going to stop at various levels that we as Kuwait have made efforts to achieve, and I am going to look at what we have done and what we will do nationally, regionally, and globally. We are 7 years from the adoption of the goals, and ideally we would have preferred to be further along the line in their implementation, but many factors have hampered this, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, conflicts across the globe, and climate change. All the challenges that we must look to overcome in order to achieve our ultimate shared goal, implementing the Sustainable Development Goals. At the outset, I will provide an overview of Kuwait's contribution globally. My government seeks support development initiatives across the region and beyond. Founded in 1961, the oldest fund of its kind after the IMF, Kuwait Fund, the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development, chaired by Minister of Foreign Affairs. Kuwait Fund is literally the second oldest development fund in the world after the World Bank, and chaired by the Foreign Affairs, aims to adjust that despite the name, the Kuwait Fund operates across the developing world, not limited to Arab countries. Its endeavor to support development infrastructure projects through low interest loan, grant technical assistance, and over financial facilities over the years, benefiting 105 development countries. While the fund generally operated independently and historically placed an emphasis on the development project, financing projects such as the building of dams, roads, airports, and schools. I have experience with Kuwait Fund myself when I was in Cuba, and I was ambassador also to Dominican and St. Lucia. I saw myself the project that Kuwait Fund made was essential for development. I remember the governor of St. Lucia, she took me in my hand and showed me the road that Kuwait Fund made, and this road was very essential to connect the cities in St. Lucia, and that make me so proud about the work of the fund. Kuwait Fund signed an agreement with the United Nations Development Program in May 2021. This is a partnership agreement to scale up support for the countries and communities affected by crisis and seeking to build resilience in the context of growing humanitarian and development challenge, and aims to support the rebuilding of these countries to implement the Sustainable Development Goals, as we have memorandum of understanding with the UK jointly to finance development projects across the developing world, signed in 2020. As a small nation, Kuwait believes in the value of multilateralism, benefiting from the role and the unity when we faced the region invasion in 1990. 30 years later, we have managed to rebuild, and we continue to do so. We feel that the value of the United Nations is not limited to the peace and security. It goes well beyond that into the sphere and of development and assistance. We have made a significant financial contribution to the United Nations agencies to support humanitarian assistance, natural disaster relief, and development needs. The role of UN cannot be understated. It has played a role across countries in the different countries. Therefore, understanding that what it takes to help rebuild, develop, and build capacities, the ability to have the knowledge and experience from different culture and experience allow the UN to be well placed to lead on the development agenda, but it needs countries to buy and make the required efforts of their parts. Kuwait currently sits on executive board for United Nations Development Program, United Nations Population Fund, and United Nations Office for project services. This role allows Kuwait to oversee the activities of the United Nations agencies, which focus on implementing 2030 agenda. We have placed great emphasis on the need for all these agencies, prioritize the needs of individual countries when drafting their national plans to support the development agenda of these countries. As a developing country ourselves, we appreciate the value of South-South cooperation. We engage in developing countries across different platforms to make sure priorities of international organizing align with the broad needs of the developing world. We work closely as a bloc in the work of the UN as the group of 77 in China to ensure that any resolution that has development aspects in the UN has the interest of this group in mind. Kuwait has long-standing history of contributing across the world, whether through the fund and program or financing humanitarian aid. And at one point, Kuwait was contributing 2.1% of its GDP as a foreign aid contribution, which was more than double the UN official development assistance commitment target of 0.7%. And this is very important for us as a small country. We feel so proud usually to mention that always, and had visited. When I remember I was in Korea as ambassador there in Seoul. Mr. Ban Ki-moon, always when I saw him and we sat in any sitting, he always praised Kuwait, and he gave us an example about how it's passed the percentage of GDP in development. Nationally, Kuwait is focusing on implementing its vision to 2035, plan transforming Kuwait into financial and trade hub regionally and internationally. Our national development plan was drawn up with international goals and factors in mind, adapting them to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2030 agenda to achieve compatibility between the national development plan and the international development vision. A key pillar of our 2035 plan is to improve local productivity, as well as the train and improve the qualification of our human resources. And therefore, there must be focused on education. And we in Kuwait have always a valid education, and now more so than ever. We have always looked to give our nationals the best quality of education, whether locally or even internationally, through the government scholarship for our brightest students to go study at the best universities across the globe. By doing so, we are looking to enable these students to bring home skills and knowledge cultivated from over the world to ultimately benefit the development of our nation. Here, as ambassador of Kuwait, I look to enhance the relationship between Kuwaiti and British institutions through our culture office. This office has responsibility of overseeing over 9,500 Kuwaiti students engaging in higher education across the field, many of which will play a major role, but to facilitate the goal of implementing the Sustainable Development Goals, such medicine, architects, economic, and much more. We are looking globally to develop locally. I was talking about with the dean and with the professor how important for me as ambassador to be sure this education relation and students coming here to the UK, it's a pillar, very important pillar in our relation with the UK, and I'm looking forward to keep that, and it's very important for our future contact, people to people contact. In Kuwait, we look to development across many lenses, understanding that indicators for development are fast and span across different issues, hence the 17 different goals. This requires government to take a holistic approach when addressing the needs for development and implementing the 2030 agenda. As His Highness the Prime Minister of Kuwait, Sheikh Ahmed Ahmed Al-Sabah, stated in his statement at the Transforming Education Summit at the UN in New York last month, the government is engaging with stakeholders such academic research institutions, the private and public sectors, and international organizations, so the development agenda is implemented. The government looks to incorporate public-private partnership in the strategy from the start, allowing all parties to work in harmony with the view to implementing the development agenda. Over the last 2 years since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, the entire world faces unprecedented challenge. We have noticed we are not as well equipped as we had thought we are. Our progress in implementing the 2030 agenda significantly hampered. However, it's also opportunity to learn to work closely with academic and research institutions, examine our flaws, and get back on track to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The SDG should not be seen solely as the responsibility of the governments, but shown approached through a collective lens, whereby all stakeholders feel the responsibility to push forward the development agenda. We firmly believe that in the need for innovation and technology to be at the forefront of the development programs. And how can this be achieved without cooperation and coordination, without public-private partnership and initiatives such as this? In Kuwait, we have successfully concluded a parliamentary election where witnessed the youth population play a significant role, female candidates elected, and an announcement of the establishment of the Ministry of Women and Children. These are important indicators, paving the way for development, but also showing that upcoming generation is being heard and noticed. There is great value placed on key academic research institutions. We have in Kuwait such the Kuwait Foundation for the advancement of science, which is conducts research on Kuwait both independently and in collaboration with foreign academic institutions. Their research, most of which conducted by Kuwaiti students, is used to get better understanding of the needs of the population, allowing government to address what may seem to be minor issue, but end up having significant impact. Finally, I would like to reiterate my gratitude for the organizer for inviting me here today. Even event and platform like this allow me for the exchange for ideas between academic and professional. The SDG United Nations initiative is extremely beneficial. It set the tone at the academic level, providing a perfect basis for the youth to make an impact locally, which in turn rebels in the two development agenda and hopefully impact globally. And thank you very much, Mr. Dean, and all of you for having me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much, Your Excellency. And I hope going forward, Kuwait will continue to use quite a lot of your GDP for projects in developing countries. And I hope you one of the countries that fulfill your SDGs. Thank you.